Hey, what's up you guys? Flipside back here at Producer Dojo. Hope your guys' day is going well. So in my tutorial last week, a few of you guys asked me to do the video on my favorite free VSTs you can get. So for today's video, I am back here with what I think is the 25 best free VSTs that you can get. And keep in mind, I am a trap producer, I make trap melodies, so all these plugins and instruments are going to be kind of geared towards that. So there's going to be some guitars, pianos, strings, and other effects and plugins that trap producers are going to find really useful. There's 25 of these VSTs, so I'm sure there's bound to be a few in here that you've never heard of and that you'll find pretty useful. I also have a couple bonus ones towards the end, so make sure you guys stick around for that. Alright, let's just jump into it, shall we? Alright, so for this first section, we're going to be covering some guitars. This first one here is Dynamic Guitars by DSK. Has your standard ADSR knobs here, reverb, level. Let's take a listen to some of these presets. Also like a few nice acoustic guitars you can use here. As you guys saw with all those, I was kind of messing with the knobs to make them sound a little better. But yeah, this is Dynamic Guitars, pretty good acoustic guitar plugin to add to your arsenal. Next up we have Spicy Guitar. This one has a lot more customization options. You can see you can adjust the vibrato, the palm muting, harmonics. You can also adjust like where the person is strumming on the guitar. You can adjust the color as well as just like a bunch of different guitar sounds. Let's go ahead and listen to some of these presets and kind of mess with these knobs. As you guys can tell, you can get a lot of different guitar sounds by just messing with these knobs. This one's called Spicy Guitar. Next up, you have Ample Guitar. This is a really popular free guitar plugin, and in my opinion, probably the best sounding acoustic guitar as far as free VSTs go. The light version has less customization options, but it does have this effects rack, so it has like reverb, delay, a phaser, chorus, overdrive, compressor, and an EQ. So let's see how this sounds. I'm gonna kind of mess with these effects. Pretty cool sounding guitar, and in my opinion the best acoustic guitar sound. Again, this is called Ample Guitar M Lite. The link to download will be down below. Now we're going to move on to some piano sounds, because as a trap producer I feel like it's a good idea to have a lot of different options when it comes to your pianos. This first one here is called Piano Tone 600 from Sample Science. Sample Science has a lot of good free plugins. There's only one preset, so you really pull this up when you want a specific piano sound. Let's see how it sounds. As you guys heard, it was kind of a retro sounding piano. You saw I was kind of messing with the depth and the rate to kind of make it have that kind of LFO, that kind of warped sounding effect. Again, this one's called Piano Tone 600. Next up, we have another Sample Science piano. This one's called Cassette Roads, and just like the last one, there's only one preset, so you want to pull this up when you just want this specific sounding piano. Just an ambient sounding piano that I think would go well with that Piano Tone VST that we just looked at. Next up we have Keyzone Classic, and this one gets a lot of high praise from other producers as kind of being the best sounding free piano that you can get. I think that is kind of debatable, but there are some really good sounding presets in here. Let's go ahead and take a look. As you guys heard there towards the end, I was kind of messing with the LFO knob. Again, this is called Keyzone Classic, has some pretty good piano sounds in here, would really recommend it. Next up here we have Awesome Piano, and this is going to be a really good piano if you're looking for something that's out of tune, if you're kind of going for like a dark, spooky, Metro Boomin, 21 Savage kind of vibe. You know, you can throw some effects on that and probably get some really dark, hard sounding melodies. Again, this is called Awesome Piano. For this last one here, we have Salamander Piano. You know, it's just another solid sounding piano that adds to your arsenal. Alright, so we're going to move on to the synths and other instruments now. This first one here is going to be a harp VST. This one's called Ethereal Winds Harp 2. Let's go and take a listen. Pretty self-explanatory, just another really solid sounding harp VST. Next up here we have Dexed or DXed. Don't be too intimidated by all these different knobs because you don't have to mess them if you don't want to. There are a lot of really good sounding presets. Again, this synth is called Dex. We really recommend it. Has some pretty good sounding presets. This next one up here is another really popular one. It's called Labs by Spitfire Audio. If you guys haven't checked this one out already, would really recommend it. You download the Spitfire Audio app, and then there's just a ton of free packs you can choose from. There's pianos, there's strings, there's guitars, you name it. There's a ton of different packs you can choose from, a ton of different sounds. Again, this one's called Labs by Spitfire Audio. This one's pretty popular, so I just wanted to give this one a quick shout out. This next one is called Redtron. When I pulled up inside FL Studio, it comes up as Container. I don't know if that's going to come up as the same for you guys and any other DAW, but just know if it comes up as Container, it's the Redtron VST. So this is modeled after an old analog synth. So the first thing you do when you pull this up is you want to click this on button, and that just enables the plugin, and then we can just go up here and listen to all these different presets. I know these kind of sound a little bare, but if you were to add some effects like reverb, some detune on these, I think you get some pretty hard sounding melodies out of this VST. Again, this one's called Redtron. This next one here is called Sonatina Orchestra. You guys saw me use this in my tutorial last week. It's a really good orchestra sounding VST. Has some violins, some cellos, and what in my opinion is the best are the flutes. You know, in my opinion, if you're looking for a really good flute sound or a really good violin sound to add to your beats, Sonatina Orchestra is the way to go. This next one here is called Bottle Pop. This next one here is pretty unique because you can use it to add some flair to your drums, and you can also use it to write melodies. This first preset is called Air Blow, and what that does is it kind of emulates somebody blowing into a glass bottle. You know, almost sounds like a flute, but it has its own little flair to it. It also has these other bottle pop hits. As you guys can hear, it kind of emulates somebody kind of hitting in the side of a glass bottle. It's a pretty unique VST, you know, something you can add to add some flair to your beats. This one is called Bottle Pop. This next one here is called Cloud Drum from Ample Sounds. This emulates kind of a kalimba sounding synth in my opinion. You know, really percussive. You can mess with the ADSR here on the side. You know, just another really good sounding synth to add to your arsenal. Again, this is called Cloud Drum. Next up, we have another VST from Spitfire Audio. This one's called BBC Symphony Orchestra. This is a really good sounding orchestra plugin. The only thing about this is that the only way to get it right now is you sign up to their mailing list and then wait 2 weeks. Once you've been on their wait list for 2 weeks, they will email you a code to download this VST. You'll download it through the Spitfire Audio app just like you did through the Labs VST. So you basically just have the whole orchestra ensemble to choose from. You know, you have your piccolos, your flutes, oboes, clarinets, percussion, violas, violins, just you have the whole orchestra you can choose from. A super high quality sounding orchestra VST, but really recommend this to, you know, add some background strings to your beats. The 2 week wait is really worth it, trust me. This next one here is called Alpha Free. You guys also saw me use this in my tutorial last week. This one has 3 different banks you can choose from. You have Alpha Free, 1, 2, and 3. Each of these banks has like tons of different presets you can choose from. You have keys, pads, leads, plucks, pretty much everything you need. Let's go and take a look at some of these presets. Again, this one's called Alpha Free. This is a really good sounding synth VST, would really recommend it. For this next synth, we have Helm. As you guys can see, it has a ton of different knobs you can use to kind of mess with the effects. If you feel intimidated by this, don't worry, because it does have a lot of really good sounding presets. As you guys can see, it has ARPs, basses, keys, leads, pads, again, everything you'll need. To round out these synth VSTs, we have Surge. Just like the last ones, it's just another really solid sounding synth VST that has some really good presets, and in my opinion has some really good organ sounds. You also have other synths and plugs you can choose from. Again, this one's called Surge. It has some really good presets to add to your arsenal for making trap beats. Let's go ahead and move on to some plugins and effects. So this first plugin is a really useful one that I use when I want to write melodies without having to plug them in on the piano roll. You know, sometimes I want to be able to use my MIDI keyboard to get some musical ideas out, but since I don't know music theory that much, it's kind of hard for me to write piano melodies on the spot. So what this does is you can select any scale you want, so let's say like C minor, and then once you hit apply, it will map all the notes in that scale to all the white notes in the keyboard. So what I can do now is I can go to the settings here, set the MIDI out to 1, go to this piano tune VST, set the MIDI import to 1. So now everything that I do in Kales is going to control this piano tune VST. So that means when I have Kales selected, I can go ahead and I can play all the white notes in the keyboard and it'll always be in key. So if I wanted to, I could plug in my MIDI keyboard and I'd just be able to play the white notes and I'd never have to worry about being out of key. This is really useful for, like I said, wanting to get musical ideas down really quick with a MIDI keyboard, as opposed to having to go in on a piano roll and having to click in notes like we always do. I might make a full tutorial on scales in the future, so let me know down in the comments if you guys want me to do that. This next plugin is a guitar preamp called Harley Quinn preamp. You know, I gave you guys some guitar VSTs earlier, so I might as well give you guys a free guitar amp. It's just a really solid free guitar amp that you can use on your guitars to get some overdrive and some other effects. There are some other pretty good solid preamps out there, but the fact that this is free, I would really recommend this. Again, this is called the Harley Quinn preamp. Alright, so this next plugin is called Backmask. And I'm going to be quite honest with you guys, like the link to download this on their website is like really weird. And to be honest, I really don't know what a lot of these buttons and knobs do. But if you just experiment with this, you'll see that you'll get some really cool sounding filters. Let's see how it sounds. Alright, so that's how it sounds with the filter, and this is how it sounds without the filter. As you guys can see, just by me pushing these buttons and moving these knobs around, I'm getting a lot of different filter effects. Kind of sounds like some reverse effects and some gating. Again, this plugin is called Backmask. Would really recommend this if you want to add some final spice to your melodies. This next one is called Tape Cassette 2, and this plugin is kind of in the same vein as Isotope Vinyl or RC20. You know, you can use this to add some vinyl or some warp effects to your melodies. I'm going to use the lo-fi preset. Yeah, as you guys can hear, you can use this to get a really vintage vibe to your melodies. We really recommend this as an alternative to Isotope Vinyl or RC20. This next plugin is going to be called Ozone Imager 2, and what this does is just basically just widens the sound of your melodies. You'll be able to see your stereo field here, and when you bump up this width knob, it'll make your melodies sound wider in the mix. So go ahead and see how it sounds. And it also tells you where you're peaking. You guys can see this red line right here. I'm kind of peaking on the right side. So if I wanted to, I could probably pan this to the left a little bit to kind of balance this out more. Again, this is called Ozone Imager 2, a really good free plugin to basically widen your mix. And speaking of wider, this last plugin is basically going to be doing the same thing. You basically throw this on your melody and you crank up the wideness, and it makes your melody sound wider. Alright, so that's it for my 25 best free VSTs that I think you can get. But since you're watching this, that means you stayed till the end. So I'm going to be giving you guys 2 bonus VSTs you can get. This first one is free if you have FL Studio. So if you don't use FL Studio, I'm sorry. But I think a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. This VST is called Sakura. For the longest time, this was a really slept on VST. But other YouTube producers like Chu have kind of popularized the Sakura VST and kind of given it the proper light that it deserves. Because there are a lot of really good sounding presets in this instrument. I know some people can kind of write off the stock instruments that come with FL Studio, but trust me guys, if you pull up Sakura and you mess around with the presets, throw some effects on there, you're going to get some amazing sounding melodies, trust me. And for this last VST plugin, I'm going to be recommending to you guys Expand 2. Now this VST is not free, but let me tell you, if you're looking for your very first VST instrument to sink some money into without spending over $100, I would really recommend Expand 2. And in my opinion, it is probably the best cheap VST that you can get under $100. When I got this, I think I got it for like 60 bucks, but I know holiday season is coming up, and I know last year for Christmas, Expand was going on sale for like 10 bucks. Seriously, 10 bucks. And I mean, you get all these different banks that you can choose from. It's some really good sounding vocals, some amazing sounding strings, and also some really good sounding guitars. And I mean, look at all these different guitar presets. And what you can do is you can have up to 4 different presets selected and kind of mix between the 4 of them to kind of make your own unique sounding preset. And in this way, in my opinion, it's kind of a cheaper version of Omnisphere, because Omnisphere is basically the same concept. You can choose 2 different presets and then mix between them to make your own unique sounding presets. And like I said, you can do the same thing in here. And there's tons of different banks you can choose from Honestly guys, if you're looking for your very first VST instrument to invest into, Expand 2, in my opinion, is the best one you can choose. Alright guys, so that wraps up my list of my 25 best free VSTs you can get for trap music. I hope that you guys found some useful plugins and instruments you can use in your beats. Let me know down in the comments if I missed any VSTs you guys use you think sound good, and then maybe I can cover them in a future video. Alright, and links to download all these VSTs will be down below in the description. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. This is Flipside with Producer Dojo. Peace out.